Okay, so what you've done so far, just to review, you've learned a little bit about logos. You've created your own logo. I decided on the T. And then you went and you enlarged this and made it look nicer on a piece of tag board. The next step that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to cut this out. Now, this is the most dangerous part about it, and you're using what is probably the most dangerous tool in my classroom. So you need to make sure that you are handling it responsibly. This is an X-acto knife. Now, it's made up of the handle part right here and then a blade. The blade does come out because they do eventually get worn out. This one does not seem to be coming out. But what can happen with them on occasion, let's see if I can find another one here. If you're pushing down on this enough, what will happen is this will loosen just a little bit, and the blade will come right out. If this happens, you can either, if you don't feel comfortable with it, you can come up to me and say, Mr. Thos, the blade came loose, and I'll come tighten it for you. Otherwise, what you can do is you just kind of hold the back of the blade here, and then you just kind of twist it, and you tighten it back up. And then it's back in there, okay? So you can use, you can tighten it yourself if you want to. It does happen on occasion. All right. Now, I know that this seems ridiculous, but I've had people screw this up before. There are two parts to the X-acto knife. There is the dull edge right here, and there is the very sharp edge. The sharp edge is the one that's tilted. It's shinier, okay? Make sure that you have the blade part facing down. Because if you were like this and you tried cutting and you put your finger on there and pressed hard enough, it would cut you pretty easily. All right? All right, the only thing you're going to need for this is obviously you're going to need your tag board. You're going to need to get an X-acto knife from me, which you are going to have to return to me by the end of the period. You don't take this home, you don't put it in your bag, and you don't put it in your bin. The other thing you're going to need is a piece of cardboard. The reason why is you need to put the cardboard underneath of this when you're cutting. I do not want to see you cutting on this table. You will ruin the table. If I see you cutting with this and you don't have a piece of cardboard underneath, we're going to have some problems. So, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my cardboard and put it underneath of where I'm cutting. I'm going to put my blade down, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just start cutting it. I'm going to push down. I kind of hold it just like I do a pencil. The only difference I usually do is I put my pointer finger up on top so I can press hard down. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start cutting and make sure that I am trying to stay in that straight line as best I can. So that's one line down. Okay. If I want to, I can go over it a little bit more. You don't want to press quite as hard. So now I'm going to do this side. I notice I always try and cut the same way. I don't try and like turn this weird a lot because that just doesn't usually work. I like turning the paper so that I feel more comfortable when I'm cutting it. Because it's all about your safety is being as comfortable as possible while you're doing this project. You do not want to make it so that you are forcing something that doesn't feel natural, and that's how you end up getting hurt. Notice I'm also not like sketching it. I'm not like going like this. I'm going straight. Put it down, keep it going the entire time. Pressing really hard. So I'm almost done here. You're going to notice that sometimes a little bit of, especially the corners, just kind of get stuck. They don't work very well. So I'm going to push this, pop this right out. And now I technically have two stencils. You can decide which one you want to use. Do you want to use this one or do you want to use this? Or do you want to use both of them? Okay. But this is the next step. So just to review, you traced. Or I'm sorry, you didn't try. You sketched, then you enlarged, and then you cut it out with an X-acto knife. At this point, when you are done with the X-acto knife, give it back to me. If somebody else wants to use it, give it back to me and have them come and get it. That way, you're not responsible for it anymore. Okay. Next step is tracing.